Well, it's Tuesday wrestling, and you all know what that means. Today, NWA will feature, of course, who will be the brand new NWA World Television Champion. Will it be Mims or Zicky Dice? We also have the United States Tag Team titles on the line and various other things taking place on NWA Powerrr. And of course, as you know, once again, the so-called what was once the Wednesday Night War has reignited into a Tuesday Night War, hopefully just for one night. We do have NXT where we feature, of course, some interesting surprises. John Cena makes his NXT debut, allying himself with Carmelo, who is by his side against Braun Breaker, while Paul Heyman is on his side as well. And of course, we have the American Nightmare also making his appearance. And as for AEW, of course, is Title Tuesday. Most of the titles are on the line. The AEW International title, the AEW Women's title, and various other things also taking place on AEW Dynamite. And of course, but first things first, we're going to be reviewing Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling with their recent pay-per-view, one of their biggest shows, Wrestle Princess IV. All three titles are on the line, and we also have some special matches taking place as well. And of course, we cap it up with some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that either been signed or departing from the respective promotions, any injured wrestlers, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. Sorry about that, something's itching my nose. Anyway, so if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of daily reviews of pro wrestling from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also down in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, or anywhere in the world where wrestling is not even big, but it's growing. We also do some discussion videos. We do some more news updates, or we have the alert our news updates, various other things. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us on the subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews almost every day. But of course, some of the other fun stuff. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or give us a nice comment down below. So let's get started with our very first review. We do have, of course, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, one of their biggest shows of the year, Wrestle Princess IV. This has just recently took place this past Monday. Um, we started out with, of course, the ring announcer giving the lowdown of the matches, and then we had a special performance from the Up Up Girls. Cannot remember the name of the song, but hopefully, if you guys are fans of the Up Up Girls, you probably will enjoy it. Now, our first match, we have some of the newbies taking their spotlight to open the match. We have Runa Okudo versus Haru Kasashiro. Match was okay, not to be wrong, but I was like a bit biased because I'm still getting I've not been watching Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling for a while. I mean, I'm not familiarized with them that completely, but to be honest with you, I think it was very interesting to see what they can do. Um, I wasn't too sure exactly how this was going to go, but I was impressed that Runa was able to put a half Boston Crab leg uh, on Karu. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. So she picked up a very good win. So I'm sure she'll be continuing to grow in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling as anything. Our next match, we have the ladies from Gangjo or Gambari Pro Riara, Yoshihiko Hasegawa, and Harukaze. Of course, taking on Team Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. We have Imawari, Kaya Toribami, and Arisu Endo. I think this match was pretty good because I have, as I said before, with many of the um, wrestlers we've seen with Gambari Pro, they're continuing to grow ever since they're now having their own Yoshi show. But however, I was impressed mostly by Arisu Endo. I have watched her grown up so much, you know. I mean, she is to me is one of the rising stars in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. I was impressed with her when she applied the camel clutch on Hasegawa to pick up the win. So I think in no time, I think in a matter of time, she'll be having her first title reign. I know she's been teaming up with Zuzumi as part of um, Daisy Monkey. Hopefully, either or, she'll probably either be a tag team champion or a singles champion. That's something I'm looking forward to seeing in the future with her. Next up, these two have been teaming before, and they have a bit of a specialty in their same kind of field. We have Julia Nagano and Moka Miyamoto. Now, the reason I say that these two have an expertise in martial arts, so you're probably thinking in by watching this match that Julia will have a much better advantage. I mean, yes, you would say that because she does have a bit of the experience in martial arts, but Moka Miyamoto has more experience with her since she's been a wrestler. She's been a wrestler a lot longer than Julia. But it was very impressive, not to mention, I mean, Julia was giving her a run for her money, but unfortunately that did not end like that for her. Apparently it ended with I'm not sure what Mocha applied, but it looked more like a brainbuster to me. So let's just call it a modified brainbuster or something. She picked up a very good win on this one. I'm sure when she continues to grow more, we'll see more of her, what she can do as well. Do I think she does have potential to be a champion? I do. I know recently she has challenged for the international belt before, but we'll see where it's going to go from here. Next up, we have a very interesting six-woman tag match. We have team number one, Toga, Wakana Uriha, and of course the resident superhero who likes to cheat once in a while, Hyper Misawa, taking on Shino Suzuki, Raku, and Aja Kong. So I know some of you are probably going to say Aja Kong has the better advantage, of course, because she's a bigger woman and she's a legend. But however, I always ask myself, okay, you guys got to be more careful when it comes to Hyper Misawa with her, even though she's supposed to be a superhero, but she does some dirty tricks in order to get what she wants. Well, that did not happen. It was, of course, Aja Kong with a backdrop driver onto Uedahara to pick up the win. I thought it was very impressive. I know that Aja and Raku are good friends. They always had each other's backs for a long time. Next up, we have a very interesting tag match. We have Yuki Arai and Miyu Watanabe. I know these two are, of course, you know, Miyu Watanabe is an idol singer within Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Yuki Arai, of course, she is an actual idol with another idol group. Teaming up was kind of interesting, but they face against Yuki Anoi and Ryu Mizunami. You probably would have assumed that this is going to be a very interesting match, since we know that Ryu Mizunami has a bit of the popularity. But I was impressed by this match, and of course, we were going to see Miyu Watanabe do her thing. But however, it wasn't Miyu who picked up the win; it was Yuki Arai with I don't know, with some sort of like a kick onto Yuki Inoi to pick up the win. I was like, very impressive. So keep in mind, she has won championships before. She was the previous tag champion with Yuki Akai, but as you know, she'll be retiring next month. Now, I did this official update recently. They announced for the arrival of a wrestler from Finland named Regina. Not much about her has been foretold. I don't know much about the promotion she's from or anything about her, but they made the official announcement over that. So we'll see where that's going to go. Our next match, we have a bit of a interesting 8-person tag match. We have Pam Arajuku, Suzumu, Shoko Nakajima, and of course Antonio Honda. They take on Neo Bishiki Gun, consistent of Yukio Saint Laurent, Martha, May Saint Michelle, and of course the leader herself, Saki Sama. I thought this match was very interesting because, as you know, everybody knows that everybody compares Saki Sama to Yuki Akai, so that kind of sets it up. But a pretty good match, and not to mention, I knew Antonio Hana was going to do with her his usual stoppage and does that on everybody. But unfortunately, it didn't go his way because it was Palm Harajuku suffered the fate with the Academy Award by Saki Sama to pick up the win. But of course, there was a bit of a promo by Saki Sama saying something that, when you see red roses, you think of her. So the initial assumption that from the translation that I got from another source that this could be the last time we see Neo Bishiki-gun. So we don't know yet if that's the case, but if it is, then it was a good run for them. So let's just leave it like that for now. Next up, we got a very interesting special match. We have Maki Ito taking on the native beast, Nyla Rose. So this was going to be a very interesting match, not to mention Nyla Rose, a very strong individual. Maki Ito, the cutest in the world. But I thought, in like many fans would have thought, okay, since this is Maki's home turf, she would have had the much better advantage. No, but unfortunately, it did not go in that favor. It went up to the Beast Bomb by Nyla Rose to pick up the win. Now, our next match is the first of 3 title matches. This is for the Princess Tag Team titles. Now, these titles were vacant by the Magical Sugar Rabbits. If you guys remember, not too long ago, Yuka Sakazaki got injured, and her and Mizuki had no other choice but to relinquish the titles. So the obvious question, who was going to challenge for these belts? Well, 2 names have come up to be in this match. Free Wi-Fi consistent of Nao Kikuta and Hikari Noa. As for the other team is Toyo Mates consistent of Mahito Kiru and Yuki Kamifuku. So these 2 are the most likely teams. Now, watching this match was pretty good because I felt, to me, I was in favor of Free Wi-Fi. Now, you may ask me why. Free Wi-Fi to me have always been a well-established tag team. Now, Hikari Noa, in my opinion, had pretty much different partners over time. I mean, she did have Pinano, then Maki, Natsumi Maki, or as you know her as Natsupo in Stardom, and then Shira Sena. But unfortunately, Shira Sena actually had to leave due to her medical condition that she was going through. So the obvious thing is, will she be ever have a tag team partner? But since teaming with now Kikuta has made her a very much capable tag team. Now we know that these Free Wi-Fi has challenged for these belts before, but they were never able to accomplish it. So I felt like they were the much suitable team, but they've shown why they deserve this more. Now, no disrespect to Toyo Mates because those 2 are good team. I mean, since I started watching Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, these 2, both Kiru and Kamifuku, they've always been a very steady team whenever they get a chance to team up. But I was so impressed by how Naoki Kuda was able to get her first championship run here in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling when she applied the Shinden Kai. It's more like a backpack stunner. She picked up the win on Kiru to become the brand new Princess and Prince Tag Team Championship. So I think this is her first title championship in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, which I'm very happy to hear. But also in the process, I've also noticed this is, of course, now what's her name? Hikari Noa's second title championship she's has ever held. However, another thought came into my mind when it comes to that. Now, Hikari Noa, as you all know, she was previously the international princess champion. So that means she's only 1 belt away to become Triple Crown champion. So I will do a video of that when I get a chance because, as you know, we do Rika Tatsumi is the first and only. So the obvious question, who will be the next? We'll get to that. Now our next match is title versus title. Winner takes all Double Crown Championship match. We have, of course, the NWA World, the Women's World Television title. Maxine Paler puts her belt on the line against the Princess International Champion Rika Tatsumi. So As you know, winner takes all. Um, of course, there was going to be an advantage of this one with Max Impaler. She is big, she's strong, and all this. And of course, Rika Tatsumi, um, she is a very capable wrestler, but unfortunately, she couldn't escape Max the Impaler's wrath until she applied the short range lariat, and it was over right from there. Now, our main event is the Princess title with the challenger Miyu Yamashita versus Mizuki. Uh, this was a very interesting matchup for me because, since I've not been keeping up that much with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, um, Izuki has never held this belt before, but the top title. But however, since winning this title from Yuka Sakazaki has meant a lot for her. But as you know, Miyu Yamashita has been one of the most impressive wrestlers, including champions in the promotion. You probably can guess it. But I saw how Miyu Yamashita was brutalizing her, doing all this. But unfortunately, it was the Crash Rabbit heat that put Mizuki away and Miyu Yamashita become, of course, the brand new Princess of Princess champion. So that makes her a fourth time. But in the process of obtaining this belt, that means she's a Triple Crown champion. Those who don't know, she is the current Eve champion from the British promotion, and of course, from Spark Yoshi Pro Wrestling here in the States. So basically, she has three titles. Now they're in the. She has spoken about maybe defending the Princess title off, like out overseas. We don't know if it can be sanctioned, but hopefully we can see that happen. I think that's pretty much it with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. So let's move on with NWA. Okay, NWA Powerrr. It opened up with the crowning of a brand new NWA World Television Champion. We have Mims and Zicky Dice. Now, Mims has been chasing this belt for a long time, so this is one of his biggest struggles. And of course, Zicky Dice, who just made his return to the promotion. As you know, he previously held this belt until losing this to the Pope. And now he feels that this belt is destined for him to come back where it belongs. Now, the obvious thing is who will walk out from it. It started out great, but of course, Zicky Dice was trying to ensure that he wins this belt. He got his hand caught in a cookie jar. When the referee noticed that he was pulling his tights, Zicky Dice tried to plead that he had nothing to do with it, but unfortunately, because of a distraction towards the referee, Mims was able to pick up the win by rolling him up and become the brand new NWA World Television Champion. So this is his first championship in NWA. So we're very happy for him. So we know for sure, as you know, being the NWA World Television Champion, if he actually wins 7 straight matches, he can cash in his opportunity for the NWA World Heavyweight title. We'll see where that takes us with him. Now, a recent interview with Sam Laterna with EC3. As you know, EC3, his opponent for his NWA World Heavyweight title, is against none other than Tom Latimer. Now, of course, EC3, who doesn't think Tom Latimer has what it takes, but of course he's a little concerned knowing that his wife, Camille, is by the side. So basically, he is confident enough to believe that he will walk out as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Now, our next match, we have the Spectaculars, consistent with Russ and Rolando Freeman, taking on members of the Southern Six, consistent of Alex Taylor and Kerry Morton. So there seems like things were not going well for the Spectaculars of recent late, but of course it was Alex Taylor with the green whistle onto Russ Freeman to pick up the win. Rolando was not happy that his brother was cost the match and that sort of thing. However, we did hear from Rolando during an interview with Sam Laterna. He appears that maybe he agrees with Brady Pierce towards his brother, but does he believe he should join his side? That's the obvious question. Now, in the podium with Kyle Davis, the Savages, consistent of Jack Stane, Blake Troop, and Silvio. So Silvio goes out of his way to say that, of course, that Jack Stane is not a member of Savages due to the fact that he was upset with him that he didn't get the job done to take out Tim Storm. However, because of that, it put him in a very predicament. But Blake Troop decided for next week to be in a submission match against him. So that's going to take place. Now, an interesting interview with Sam Laterna with Vampiro. As you know, the war between La Rebellion and the brothers from Construction has been taking much of a heated toll. So there's going to be a stipulation match that's going to go on. There's going to be a representation from one tag team to see who's going to win. There's going to be whoever wins will set up a stipulation of the match. Now, of course, Vampiro is not very concerned, but he is saying that all this and that. So he's confident to believe that he said that he knows what stipulation he wants, but he has to wait. They gotta wait to see until the day they win. So we'll go from there. Now our next match we have Sal the Pal taking on his former teammate Judias. Now keep in mind, as you know, Sal the Pal and Gags the Kimp were kicked out of the uh, unfaithful, the miserable, unfaithful, whatever they call themselves back then. I forgot the name. However, of course, Judias could have defeated um, easily Sal the Pal, but if it wasn't for Gags the Kimp, who in fact got Sal the Pal disqualified, giving the match to Judias. But of course, Gags couldn't allow his friend to get brutalized, murdered by Judias, so he had no other choice but to do that. Now back in the podium with Kyle Davis, interviews Chris Adonis. Now, of course, he did not want to rub it in the fact that he did not win the world television title like he would have hoped for. But however, it appears that he feels now that a title he has held before the national is now being defiled by none other than Thrill Billy Cyrus. So he's now making aim for the NWA national title. So we'll see where that takes us. Now, the NWA United States Tag Team titles are defended. Of course, the newly champions Daisy Kill and Talos defend the titles against a newly reformed country gentleman, AJ Kazana, with his brother Casey joined the fight. However, this match ended with, of course, a chokeslam onto Casey by Talos, but it was Daisy Kills that picked up the pin. However, apparently they Talos wanted to put the titles on the line against one more team, and I think this is the team that deserves the challenge for those belts. We're talking about Kratos and Odison. I thought this match was pretty good, but however, once again, tricks were being applied by Daisy Kills and Talos to retain the titles. However, this match ended in a disqualification by Daisy and Talos, leaving Odison and Kratos to win the belts. Win the match, but not the belts. But sooner or later, they have to proceed for those belts. So I think that's pretty much it with the NWA. Let's move on with NXT. Okay, NXT. It opened up with the first appearance and debut of Cody Rhodes. Of course, everybody was happy to see him there. Of course, Cody Rhodes made some interesting announcements. The first one was, of course, since we already started with the women's breakout tournament, we're going to see the men's take their position with the men's breakout tournament as well. So, and the second announcement, as you know, everybody talked about tag teams. So, of course, they're bringing back the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which is going to be great. And, of course, the final announcement, since it is NXT, he said he had a little talk with Shawn Michaels, telling him that he is now the special guest general manager. So everybody was happy. But of course, he had a surprise visit from the current NXT champion, Ilya Dragunov, all this and that. Wanted to talk to him that he sees a lot of fire in him, because Dragunov mentioned how he believes that since he is the NXT champion, he wants to bring the fire and passion into NXT. However, someone had a different opinion over that, and we're talking about Dirty Dom himself, who he believes that he runs NXT because, you know, he believes that since he is the North American champion, that makes him the guy who runs things. However, that's not true because we all know that the NXT title is the top title. So basically, because, you know, uh, Cody Rhodes was there, he decided, you know what, let's put Dragunov versus Dominic for the NXT title. But just to ensure that things go well, he decided to have a special guest referee, and it's of course someone NXT is familiarized. We're talking about LA Knight. So we're gonna see how things are gonna go. Now we do see an earlier clip that to show John Cena making his arrival to the um, to NXT, and of course everybody goes ballistic. Now, when our next match was starting, we have Roxanne Perez taking on Asuka, but out of nowhere, we had a surprise NXT alumni. We're talking about Shotzi in her tank. So she joined a commentary group, all but that was set up by none other than Booker T. So basically, she made the interesting announcement saying that, as you know, we're in October. Halloween Havoc's going to be there, and once again, she's hosting it. But she does have a co-host, and that's going to be Scarlett Bordeaux. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, as for the Asuka and Roxanne Perez, pretty good match. But however, Asuka, on the other hand, has always been a much stronger individual. The obvious question is, was Roxanne Perez ready for the Empress of Tomorrow? Well, obviously not until she got the roundhouse kick. So basically, Asuka showed some respect to Roxanne Perez. But as soon as this happened, Kiana James shows up and attacks Roxanne Perez. But not until Shotzi Blackheart took matters in her own hands and took out Kiana James. Now, as we saw John Cena make his arrival to NXT, we saw Paul Heyman as well. As you know, he'll be in the corner of Braun Breaker. Now, our next match is a pub rules match. We have, of course, Tyler Bate teaming up with the members of the Brawling Brutes, Rich Holland and Butch. Now they're facing against Gallus. So this is becoming a war between two groups. I thought it was a much brutal match you couldn't possibly imagine. I mean, you could use all kinds of plunder in there. I mean, you had some glass, you had some kegs, you got everything that anybody needs to destroy each other. But there was a moment, of course, Joe Coffey could have walked out as the winner, but however, thanks to the teamwork with the Brawling Brutes and Tyler Bate, they applied a triple power bomb onto Joe Coffey. 1, 2, 3. It was over, just like that. But later in exclusive content, they did show Rich Holland has declared Tyler Bate an honorary member of the Brawling Brutes. And I think that is a good thing. I mean, once if he finishes with NXT, we wouldn't be surprised seeing him join the Brawling Brutes in the main roster. So that's going to be fun to see. Now, as you know, John Cena making his first appearance in NXT addresses the fans, but of course, someone who does not like the spotlight being overturned to him, Braun Breaker shows up, and of course, John Cena showing respect, but Braun Breaker refused to do that. Of course, John Cena was this close to throwing the F5 on him, but he walked away like the idiot. Now, as you know, Cody Rhodes is a special guest GM. He was approached by none other than Stax and Tony D'Angelo. Now, they're kind of anxious to find out who will be their next opponents for the tag titles. So basically, Stax kind of laid it out to him. How about 10 teams in a ring? Have if one is eliminated, the entire team is out. So, but have the last two teams restart as an actual team where it's an actual tag match where winner takes the pinfall. So Cody likes the idea. He said his father, the late Dusty Rhodes, had crazy idea of matches. So he also said this, let's name this the Bada Bing, the Bada Boom Battle Tag Team Battle Royal. And of course, Tony D and Stax love what they were going with this. So I thought it was really, really fun with them. Now, Mackenzie decided to have an interview with Baron Corbin. Now, it seems Baron Corbin is upset how things are not going his way, resulting of the fact that Dragunov is defending his NXT title against Dominic. Baron Corbin feels that he should have been the one challenging for the belt. But obviously, that was not the case. So he is trying to find a way to plead his. Make sure he's outside. Uh, make sure that he gets the attention that he needs in order to get that title shot. However, let's jump into that particular match. Of course, the special guest referee is LA Knight doing his thing. However, we do have the NXT title, Dragunov versus Dirty Dom. Of course, this was going to be a very interesting match, but not to mention, you probably would have expected with this match, wherever Dom or Rhea Ripley goes, here comes none other than the Judgment Day. We did Sid Finley and Janie McDonough, but of course, LA Knight did his job, took business in his own hands, took them out. However, Trick Williams even did help out, pull Rhea Ripley. I don't know what just happened. It was like one of those movies where, like you see stars when you have the woman in your shoulder, for a man having a woman in your shoulders, looking eye to eye. You're like, what the hell, But I thought it was funny. But however, it was the Torpedo Moscow that put away Dom for Dragunov to pick up the win. However, in the post match, Baron Corbin, who was determined to get his title shot, apparently someone beat him to it, and that is none other than the so-called man of justice, Dijak. So right now, Corbin is upset that someone has beat him to it. So I'm sure he's becoming agitated over this. But of course, later on, we did see him. He had a little chat with Cody. So he is trying. So, however, there is going to be a match involving with Braun and Carmelo. So basically, there's going to be a bit of a number one's contendership next week. Basically, or I think that's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, so that's how it is. So basically, Corbin does not like it, but of course, this is all that Cody can do at the moment. Now, we do see in the backstage Carmelo Hayes talking with John Cena, all this and that, talking great for being here, and then here comes Trick Williams. Things kind of went a little not hectic, but more like okay, off base between both Hayes and Williams. Um, I don't know what was going on, but of course, John Cena noticed it, and Trick Williams asked him, "How did you know it was your time?" And of course, John Cena, being a very kind and very wise guy to talk to wrestlers who feel that they want to reach to the top, he said, "Let's talk." So basically, whatever he said to him, hopefully that would help him. Now we do see a very interesting segment. As you know, there's this thing called the NXT Anonymous. Someone has been posting videos anonymously of what's been going on in NXT. This Anonymous took a video of Paul Heyman seems to be talking to Ava Reigns, the possible of recruitment into the bloodline. So whatever that case may be, I'm sure we all probably would love to see that as well. Now, Dominic, as you know, who's did not win the title, bumps into Frazier along with his buddies. So basically, I'm sure Frazier may have his sights set on the North American title. So that is something that probably will be interesting. Now back to Chase University, we do see the Hale makes her return to class, but apparently she didn't come alone. She did have Jay-Z Jane. So what's his name? Professor Chase did not intervene or did anything. So that kind of, like he just let it slide in some way. Now, our final backstage moment, we do see Kiana James, who seems like she did not get what she wanted to finish off Roxanne Perez, but she thanked Asuka for being there. However, while Asuka was still remaining in the room, she had a surprise visit from someone who, from of course known as the top gaijin back in Japan, Blair Davenport, talking to her in Japanese. So whatever they said, I'm sure someone's gonna translate it. If there is a translation, I will post it up soon as possible. However, later after that, we have Kalani Jordan and Fallon Henley wanted the say hi, respect her, but of course, Tiffany Strand, who feels like she's a much bigger star, saying, if there's anything you need, I'm there. But Fallon Henley feels like, like she's being totally disrespectful. Now, our main event, we have Carmelo Hayes along with John Cena taking on Braun Breaker, being accompanied by Paul Heyman. Now, keep in mind, Paul Heyman was there at the behest of none other than uh, Roman Reigns. So you probably would have assumed this match was going to be brutal. However, Braun Breaker did try to do the same thing what he did to Von Wagner. It did not do any well. But however, um, Solo Sikoa showed up. So things went out of control. But it was nothing but net by um, Carmelo Hayes to win, and he gets into the #1 contendership that he's going to be involved in. However, he got speared in the post match by Braun Breaker, and then he said he is the baddest man ever, the biggest badass of them all. Well, someone begged to differ, and we're talking about the return of none other than the American badass, The Undertaker. So, of course, Undertaker had some things to say to him, but he doesn't think he's that guy. But he got chokeslammed, just like that. So basically, you're talking to the OG badass. So that's one thing we're happy to see. So I thought it was great. Not to mention hearing um, the American badass theme was great too. But I enjoyed it. I'm sure everybody was talking nuts about it. So I think that's pretty much it with NXT. So let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite Tuesday Wrestling, or Tuesday Dynamite, or Title Tuesday as they want to call it, um, happened. Now, this was not televised, but you can actually see this. This was like a buy-in show on YouTube. We have, of course, both the New Japan Strong Openweight title and the ROH World title defended. Eddie Kingston defends both titles against the King himself, Murder Grandpa Minoru Suzuki. I knew this match was going to be a really good one because, um, you look at Minoru Suzuki, someone who's been trained in strong style, faces a guy who's all about the King's Road, which is all Japan's wrestling style that they learned from. So I thought it was a pretty decent match. Not to mention, I knew certain moments where Minoru Suzuki would be Suzuki, but in fact, it was the um, Northern Light Bombs that put away Minoru Suzuki to pick up the win. And of course, Eddie got the respect from Kingston. But in the back, of course, the dickwads were watching. I'm talking about Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, Karen Jarrett, and of course, that big, tall brute, Satnam Singh. So whatever they planned, their hopes to they take the ROH title away from Eddie Kingston because they felt that he has defiled it. So we'll see about that. Now let's begin with a very interesting moment during the buy-in. Tony Schiavone and Tony Khan were doing their thing. They announced that, of course, Jon Moxley was not medically cleared into the for his AEW International title rematch. Apparently, Hook decided, to step in and tells him Orange Cassidy never got his rematch. So basically, Orange Cassidy's like, I guess, So he just and then Tony, are you sure? No, no, I'll take it. So basically, that's what the match was. Now, as as the start of the show, Christian Cage addresses the AEW fan base about his longtime friend Adam Copeland, that he is waiting for reckoning. He wants to ensure that Luchasaurus will make sure he leaves him laying down. But he also is now also going to pay attention to the #1 contender between Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson. So we'll be seeing that. Now, our opening match is that match, which is the AEW, the TNT title #1 contendership, Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland. Uh, you probably think that Swerve Strickland will be dealing with a master technician, which of course he would. But of course, that imbecile Nana was going to get himself involved. He was intending to have Swerve use the crown on Bryan Danielson while he distracted the ref, but luckily it seems like the war between both Strickland and Hangman is not even over yet. Hangman stopped them, but it cost, of course, the match when, of course, the Busaiku knee was applied onto a Swerve. Bryan Danielson picked up the win. Seems this is not over between Nana Swerve and Hangman. So this is going to be a very interesting war between them. Now, Samoa Joe has addressed MJF that he is not done with him, not by a long shot. So we'll see where that's going to go from there. Our next match, we have Chris Jericho versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Now, Hobbs made a surprising appearance as now the newest member of the Don Callis family. So anything could happen from here on out. However, Powerhouse Hobbs was really doing his thing, but he was able to pick up the win by Jericho by applying these two slams onto him, but picking up the win. However, during a medical update with Renee Paquette, they're not too sure how things were going. Of course, Daniel Garcia actually showed up. Was concerned for Jericho, but Matt Menard was not happy with the result of Garcia's actions of what he was doing. So we'll see where that's going to go. But later, it was told that he was taken to a nearby hospital to be checked out. Now, Adam Cole, who's been kidnapped by the Kingdom, and Roderick Strong continues to harass him, trying to cut the lawn while he was injured. So he's trying desperately to get his ankle injury taken up, but they're trying to. I don't know what plan they have, but it seems like it must be working. And of course, MJF is concerned, so he can't get to him. So basically, they're holding him hostage. Now, our next match is the AEW International Championship. We have Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix. Now, these two guys have dealt with each other and back in 2021. So basically, this old feud has rekindled. But the obvious question is, can Orange Cassidy reclaim the title that it meant so much to him? Well, he did when he applied, of course, the Orange Punch, then the Mousetrap, which was good measure for him to pick up the win. So he becomes two-time AEW International Champion. And, of course, best friends Rocky, Chris, and, of course, Hook came down to congratulate him. Now, during a little somewhat of a interview with RJ City, he talks to, of course, Tony Storm about a brand new flick called The Lover's Lament. This is Act 1, so that's what's been going on the entire time. But Act 2 did show up. Now, our next match, we have Wardlow taking on Matt Sydal. This one was like a bit of a squash match. It was over right from the moment the Power Bomb Symphony applied. Referee called the match from there. Now, our next match, we have Hangman Adam Page taking on Jay White. Basically, Jay White once again declaring himself that he is the actual AEW World Champion, even though official records say that he's not. But of course, this match was going to be a bit of a tricky one because, of course, Hangman has to have eyes in the back of his head because BC Bullet Club Gold were right there by his side. But unfortunately, even though if they were kept a close eye, Nana, who came out to get revenge on Hangman for costing Swerve the match, also caused the match when, of course, Jay White applied a roll-up on him to win the match. However, MJF comes out, who's demanding that they return the belt to him. But, of course, Jay White, who claims that it's not going to happen. It's not going to go back because you say so, because, once again, he declared himself that he's the champion. And, of course, he said the only way he's going to get it if he puts himself in an 8-man tag match because Jay White knows nobody will want to tag with him. But also, Juice Robinson said that he is now entering the AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring tournament, and he's declaring that he will take that diamond ring off of him. As you know, MJF has won that diamond many times over, and they think that his time is almost up. But once again, of course, the MJF is still claiming that he had nothing to do with the devil head being there. So we'll see what that takes place. Now, our next match is the AEW Women's Championship. We have Hikaru Shida versus Saraya. Of course, Ruby Soho was not involved. Apparently, she was banned from ringside. But, of course, we saw her later on. She was there, dressed like a camera crew or whatever she was doing. But, however, she tried to spray can Hikaru Shida. but it did not work. It got in her face, but all of a sudden, Toni Storm comes out and whacks her with her shoes. But this is put in a very bad disadvantage by Saraya. Saraya pulled every stop that she has in order to put away Hikaru Shida. But Hikaru Shida, who never gave up, continued on until she applied a rollback onto her to become 3-time AEW Women's Champion. Now, it appears that Don Callis with his little thingy because he wanted 10 minutes of TV time to explain what's his next plan. So he decided to take a page out of Sammy Guevara's book by using the cue cards. So basically, they are determined to destroy Kenny and Chris Jericho. And of course, he announced Sammy Guevara will be back. Now, during an interview with Renee, of course, Renee doesn't want to rub it in his face, knowing what's going on. So he tried to get Adam Cole back, but apparently he's still being held hostage by Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. So we'll see about that. But the Acclaim decided that they're going to try to team up with them. But MJF doesn't seem like, I'm not into it. But Billy Gunn is saying, what is it with you? What's your infatuation with him? So they said they know each other for 10 years. So basically, he's saying that I like when he's playing hard to get. It was like, oh, you got to be kidding. But the obvious thing is, will he do it? Well, we'll see about that. So that's going to be a rare, fun thing to watch. Now, Christian Cage comes out with Luchasaurus. He does a little promo indicating that this match will end with Luchasaurus beating Adam Copeland. But however, Adam Copeland comes out, do his thing. Basically, this match became a very tough match because, of course, Nick Wayne was there. Christian Cage was on the top of the ramp to ensure that Luchasaurus gets the job done. But apparently nothing could be done. Apparently it did not work. But it was Adam Copeland that speared Luchasaurus. Of course, it became a 3-on-1 beatdown. But all of a sudden, we see, of course, the arrival of Bryan Danielson, who, as you know, is the #1 contender to take on Christian Cage. And then, of course, the BCC show up. And then the Gates of Agony, Hangman Page. So it became a chaotic. So Dynamite went into like that. So we're going to see a lot of variables when it comes to this. So we'll see what happens until then. I think that's pretty much it with AEW Dynamite. So let's move on with some news updates for our last thing. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have. If you guys have been aware or not, New Japan and Stardom had like a business strategy meeting that took place. Now, certain things have come up on this one. Stardom did announce that they will be expanding their to Thailand and Singapore. That's something that's been brought up before. So this will be something part of the Bushi Road expansion of a Bushi Road Expo. So I'm sure it's going to be a part of what they want to do. They want to expand more of their product. But also was announced that the historic crossover will be making its return in 2022. However, when it came to the historic crossover, they talked to Julia about something interesting and to Mayu Iwatani. Let me pull it up real quick on my phone because I have it here. Here it is. Of course, Julia was asked, will she be tagging with Zack Sabre Jr. like last time? She has talked about their British team since she was born in the UK. Since the British men are very gentlemen, she's looking forward to teaming with Zack again. As for Mayu Iwatani, on the other hand, from what is telling me, she would like to tag with Hiroshi Tanahashi because, as you know, that was the initial plan that she wanted last year. But unfortunately, that did not happen due to the fact she was involved in the IWGP Women's Tournament. So that kind of sets it in. But of course, Mayu Iwatani really wants to have this match, even though if there was a possibility that she probably will have a singles match. So we will see when that happens. Wrestling Observer has revealed that, of course, Mercerdes Mone may be making her return as far as not that far away from what they know. However, there is talks about the possibility of a match against Julia. Now, that is a match that we have all been talking about since Mercedes made her appearance out when she left WWE. So that looks like not that far off. Now, some interesting news has come around. Recently, there's been rumors coming in that Velveteen Dream, if you guys remember him, who was removed from WWE to some things that was causing a problem. Apparently, there were reports saying that he had visited the Performance Center multiple times, but apparently, someone has confirmed they have seen him there. So I don't know what's the significance of that. I'm sure WWE will not allow him to come back, do some stuff that took place outside, but we'll see what happens. Two things updates with West Coast Pro for their upcoming November show, Whiplash. Chris Bay will be making his appearance on that one on that day, and then of course we have Kenta will be appearing on the 3rd of December called Monster. So that's going to be very interesting developments. Now, during a podcast by none other than the host himself, Kurt Angle, apparently he said that how he's jealous of Adam Copeland. Now, this is what he said. I'm jealous now that it's going to be a priceless. I think their matchup is definitely going to be 5-star, no doubt. So he's referring to about Adam Copeland. Now, he did stated that Copeland wouldn't move to AEW due to his loyalty to WWE. So basically, it was more like a talent move or something. So he explained it's good when guys cross over. There's a lot of guys that hasn't faced in AEW, guys like Samoa Joe or Sting, MJF, a lot of great wrestlers. This is really good for fans because they are putting to see new matchups and new faces. And of course, um, that's pretty much it. I mean, as like I said before, uh, Adam Copeland wouldn't go to AEW due to his loyalty to WWE, but because as you know, WWE had no need for him at all. That was the reason why he left. So I mean, I'm sure many WWE talent would love nothing more to face wrestlers from AEW because that's what they would want to see. But of course, they're asking them maybe you should come to our place, that sort of thing. But you got to remember, certain things WWE may do for them that will be essential that AEW can do for them as well. So that's something we have seen in over the years with AEW since they launched. So I think that's pretty much it for our news update. So let's just call it a day. Okay, so for our next episode, as you may or not know, basically it's going to be Wednesday, but nothing's happening. So I'm going to have to wing it. But however, there was still some shows I haven't been able to see. I haven't seen night 2 of the Fight Club show by GCW, but recently there is the To Live and Die in Tokyo, which is another GCW show. I would love to see that one. There's plenty of other shows I haven't seen just yet, including Wrestling Revolver and of course the latest Got to Move show where they celebrate 20 years with Masahiro Takanashi. So there's a lot of things I have to decide what I'm going to do from here on out. So I'm going to wing it for all of you, see how this one goes out. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day.